Tonight's NHL slate isn't about guesswork. It's about patterns, pressure, and what the numbers quietly reveal when the puck drops and the noise fades. Home ice trends collide with road fatigue. Recent form challenges long-term perception. And beneath every money line and record, there's a story forming, one that only becomes clear when you slow the game down and read between the stats. This is Beyond the Box Score, and tonight, every matchup tells a different truth. Game 1. Toronto Maple Leafs at Washington Capitals. Washington enters this matchup carrying the weight of home ice consistency and recent defensive stability, opening as -160 favorites. At home, the Capitals have quietly built a the 2nd of May 10 record, a mark that reflects control more than dominance but consistency more than volatility. Toronto, meanwhile, has struggled to find rhythm away from home, sitting at 5-7 on the road, a number that continues to shadow their ceiling in hostile environments. What stands out beneath the surface is Washington's recent defensive form. Over their last 5 games, the Capitals have posted .914 save percentage, paired with a 3.00 goals against average, signaling reliability rather than perfection. This isn't a lockdown unit, it's a group doing just enough to protect leads and manage chaos. When combined with the situational edge of home ice, that recent form begins to align with the market's lean. From an analytical standpoint, the structure points toward Washington Capitals moneyline -160 as the prevailing directional edge. When home performance, recent goaltending metrics, and Toronto's road inconsistency intersect, the numbers quietly reinforce the same narrative: stability over volatility in this spot. Game 2. Edmonton Oilers at Boston Bruins. Edmonton arrives in Boston fresh off a 6-4 win at Pittsburgh, a game where efficiency outweighed volume. The Oilers scored 6 goals on just 23 shots, a reminder of how quickly momentum can flip when elite finishing meets opportunity. However, context matters. This matchup marks Edmonton's 4th straight road game, a stretch that tests legs, recovery, and focus as travel compounds. Boston, on the other side, enters with form trending upward. The Bruins have won 5 of their last 6 games, building rhythm through structure and pace rather than flash. While Edmonton brings confidence from their last outing, Boston brings consistency from a larger recent sample. Yet despite Boston's run, the analytical lean settles on Edmonton Oilers moneyline -135. The recent offensive efficiency, paired with the ability to convert limited chances, shifts the balance slightly. In a matchup where form meets fatigue, the numbers suggest Edmonton's ceiling still carries enough weight to challenge Boston's recent surge. In scenario-based analysis, this game often appears as a momentum hinge, where finishing efficiency and recent scoring form outweigh the grind of a long road stretch. Game 3. Minnesota Wild at Columbus Blue Jackets. Minnesota enters this matchup favored at -120, carrying momentum built over time rather than a single result. The Wild are chasing their 6th straight victory, and their broader season profile supports that push. Minnesota holds a 5th of September 12 season record, including an impressive 8-6-1 road record, signaling comfort outside their home building. Columbus comes in off a 4-3 overtime win against Anaheim, a result that snapped a difficult stretch after previously losing 5 straight games. That win provided relief, but not necessarily confirmation of a full turnaround. One game stopped the slide, but it didn't erase the underlying volatility. The analytical direction leans toward Minnesota Wild moneyline -115, a reflection of sustained form rather than reactionary momentum. Minnesota's ability to perform on the road, combined with their current winning stretch, frames this matchup as one where continuity outweighs a single emotional win. From a broader analytical lens, this matchup often fits into scenario-based combinations built around sustained road performance versus short-term relief results. Game 4. Los Angeles Kings at Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay opens this matchup as a heavy favorite at -192, with an alternate price mentioned at -180, despite a home record sitting at 8-8. The Lightning's recent results reveal turbulence rather than dominance, a 5-2 loss to Florida, followed by a 3-2 overtime loss to the Islanders. These back-to-back setbacks add context to a price that reflects reputation more than current form. Los Angeles enters as the quieter side of the matchup, carrying less public weight but benefiting from Tampa Bay's recent inconsistency. When recent results, home record, and price disparity are viewed together, the numbers point toward value emerging away from the spotlight. The analytical lean lands on Los Angeles Kings Moneyline plus 160. This isn't about predicting control, it's about recognizing when pricing stretches beyond recent performance indicators. In situations like this, historical perception and current execution don't always align, and that gap is where alternative scenarios take shape. Game 5, Pittsburgh Penguins at Ottawa Senators. Ottawa steps into this matchup favored between -165 and -170, facing a Pittsburgh team caught in a brutal downward spiral. The Penguins have lost 6 straight games, and the details of that streak reveal just how thin the margins have been. Pittsburgh dropped a 6-4 loss versus Edmonton, followed by a 5-4 overtime loss versus Utah, a 6-5 overtime loss versus San Jose, a 4-2 loss versus Montreal, a 4-3 overtime loss versus Anaheim, and a 3-2 overtime loss at Dallas. 5 of those 6 losses came by 1 goal, 4 of them in overtime, signaling not collapse, but constant late-game pressure without closure. Ottawa enters off a 3-2 overtime win at Winnipeg, a game that capped 3 straight road games before returning home. That context matters. Travel fatigue often lingers, even after a win, and Ottawa now shifts from survival mode on the road back into a favored position at home. Despite Ottawa's favored status, the analytical lean points toward Pittsburgh Penguins money line plus 145. This is a numbers-driven scenario where repeated one-goal and overtime losses suggest volatility rather than failure. When a team consistently stays within a single bounce, the data frames a potential swing point, especially when the market reflects the streak more than the margins. Game 6, Chicago Blackhawks at Montreal Canadiens. Chicago's recent form tells a story of opportunity slipping away. The Blackhawks led Toronto 2-0, only to watch Toronto close and win 3-2. That loss fits into a broader trend. Chicago has lost 5 of their last 6 games, and they enter this matchup without their best player, a detail that shapes both pace and finishing ability. Montreal sits as a heavy favorite at -200, even after coming off a 4-1 loss versus Philadelphia in their last outing. That loss didn't erase the structural edge Montreal holds in this matchup, especially against a Chicago team missing its top presence and struggling to protect leads. The analytical direction focuses on Montreal Canadiens puck line -1.5 plus 130. This reflects a scenario-based angle rooted in Chicago's recent inability to close games and Montreal's positional advantage despite the prior loss. When a team is consistently falling behind late and missing its most impactful player, separation becomes a recurring outcome rather than an exception. Game 7, Philadelphia Flyers at Buffalo Sabres. Buffalo opens this matchup favored at -135, backed by strong situational context. At home, the Sabres hold a 9-5-2 record, and overall they sit at 1-4-1-4-4. They've also won 3 straight games, and this matchup marks their first home game after a 6-game road trip, a spot that often brings an energy reset and sharper execution. Philadelphia arrives with a stronger overall profile, posting a 6th of September 17 record, including a 7-4-2 road record. The Flyers have shown consistency away from home, making this a clash between situational momentum and season-long performance. The analytical lean settles on Buffalo Sabres money line -135, driven by the convergence of home performance, recent winning form, and the situational return from extended travel. In broader analytical constructions, this game often appears as a stabilizing leg, where environment and timing weigh as heavily as raw record. Game 8, New York Rangers at St. Louis Blues. The Rangers present one of the sharpest location splits on the slate. On the road, New York owns a 1 May 12 record, while at home they sit at 4-1-0-3. That contrast defines this matchup entirely. Away from Madison Square Garden, the Rangers have thrived, structured, composed, and efficient. With that road dominance in mind, the analytical lean aligns with New York Rangers money line -135. This isn't about chasing momentum, it's about recognizing where a team performs best. When a road profile outweighs a home identity, venue becomes an advantage rather than a concern. Game 9, Seattle Kraken at Calgary Flames. Seattle enters this matchup in the midst of a deep slump, having lost 3 straight games, and posting a 1-8-1 record over their last 10. Their most recent outing was a 5-3 loss versus Colorado, reinforcing the downward trend. Yet beneath the surface, defensive numbers tell a different story. Seattle's save percentage over the last 5 games sits at .911, compared to Calgary's .896. Seattle also carries a 2.60 goals against average, signaling structure even when results haven't followed. Calgary, meanwhile, comes off a road loss versus San Jose, and recent goaltending efficiency lags behind Seattle's. The analytical lean points toward Seattle Kraken Moneyline plus 150. This matchup highlights the difference between results and process, where defensive efficiency and goaltending metrics suggest competitive potential despite the standings and streaks. Game 10. Dallas Stars at San Jose Sharks. San Jose has quietly built a strong home profile, owning a 3rd of May 10 record on their ice. Dallas, however, brings one of the league's strongest road resumes, sitting at the 4th of February 11 away from home. The Stars enter heavily favored between -210 and -220, reflecting that dominance. Given the price and Dallas's road efficiency, the analytical focus shifts to Dallas Stars puck line -1.5 plus 130. This frames a scenario where Dallas' ability to separate on the road aligns with market expectations while accounting for San Jose's respectable home record. If you found value in the numbers, the trends, and the deeper story behind tonight's matchups, make sure you subscribe to Beyond the Box Score. Drop a like if the analysis helped you see the game differently, and leave a comment with the matchup you're watching closest tonight. New breakdowns, deeper context, and smarter analysis are always on the way, because here, we don't chase headlines, we break down the game beyond the box score.